There I sat blubbering yet again. Darn it, Miss Lena Horne, you get me every time. She continued to sing, and when she got to my favorite part, believe it in yourself, not because I want you to. You got to believe it right from the start. Oh, yes, Miss Lena Horne singing Believe in You from The Wiz. Okay, let me bring this back down. Hey, y'all. Yeah, it's me, MichelleSpiva, your practical priestess of wisdom, and I want to welcome you to today's podcast of Wisdom Smack. So, I got something good for you today. Join me on the flip as we talk about what you want wants you. I'll see you then. What you want really does want you. And if you don't have what you really want, hopefully, our little chat today is going to help you get there. In the A part, I talked about one of my favorite songs from The Wiz. Now, actually, I probably could say most of them are my favorite songs. And to think that this is the same musical where Michael Jackson starts at the beginning singing, "You can't win, you can't get in, you can't get over," to at the end when Lena Horne sings, "Believe in yourself as I believe in you," and you have had it everything you need right from the start. It's like, oh my God, this is such a beautiful arc. But because I love that show, I mean that Broadway show and the movie, I just see so many different things that I can learn from it and grow from it. And so thank you for allowing me to share that. So this is about you though, right? Yeah. So let's talk about some wisdom smacks. Now, when we talk about what you want wanting you, I hope that sends little warm delights through your soul and your body, and that you get a little happy about it because, believe it or not, it's the truth. It really is. And I want to help you shorten the time if you are wanting things that you don't have. And better than that, I want to help you to have the wisdom to really enjoy and be able to handle what it is that you want. Now, let me give some disclaimers right off the bat. What I am not talking about is that I'm not talking about the who you want. I'm talking about the what you want, because those who's, they can be tricky, capricious, they can file restraining orders. So that's not the kind of show we're talking about here. So this is not a how to get my ex back. This is not a why won't she love me or he love me or what. This is not that. This is more in line with what we've been talking about this week about purpose. And I'm trying to make sure that I give you some wisdoms to help round out what we've been talking about. Okay? Cool. All right. So the first thing I want to say is you need to get clear. A lot of people don't realize that when they are trying to lead this purpose filled life, a lot of folks are, and I know this is graphic, but this is one of my sayings when I want to get a point across. A lot of people are ingesting other people's vomit. Yeah, I said it. If you're not grossed out, you're still with me. Thank you. But what I mean is I want you to stop going after what you think are the societal standards for what your purpose should be. Do not find yourself find that you've been going after things that you wanted to have so that people would like you, respect you, see you, know you, trust you, or whatever. No, because those things change. And when they do change, where are you going to be? I'll tell you where you're going to be. You're going to be stuck with an aim and a purpose that was borrowed to begin with. There is nothing sadder than achieving something only to have it crumble as dust in your hands or in your heart that you realize I got what I wanted and I didn't even really want it. Okay? Ask me how I know about that, but that's another story. All right. So, like I said before, first thing is I want you to get clear. And to get clear, one of the things that I can tell you is you're going to really be able to use a lot of the things that have happened in your life. If there have been areas where you have felt embarrassed, shamed, if you've been corrected, that, oh, this is not for you, you can't do that, or whatever, those could probably be some really good areas to start looking at. So what if you feel like you're too old to be a pop star? Doesn't matter. If you want to sing and you're willing to do what it takes, then what you want wants you. Yeah, it might mean that you are one of those people who have to go through and learn the skill of singing. But I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of skillful singers out there that never had the talent. See, and that's a curse that a lot of talented people have to watch out for. And another thing is that people believe that if you have this natural affinity or talent or gift for something, that that's what you want. And that could be further from the truth. There are a lot of things people are good at that they don't necessarily want to have or want to do. And so there's that. And I don't want you feeling like, oh, this is just another one of those go after your dreams and all this kind of stuff. No, it is not, because wisdom is always showing you what is beneath the surface. And yeah, what you want wants you, but there is a reason for it. And the reason behind it is vast, but I'm going to just touch on one quick one. And it is this little thing called electromagnetism. Yeah, I talked about it in previous podcasts, and I'm going to talk about it again real quick. And the reason why I'm talking about what you want, really wanting you by way of science, and then by way of psychological and psychodynamic, subtle energy, and all that, is because people don't realize that a lot of times, first it's biology, and then it's everything else. And so electromagnetism, we've talked about the electricity and the magnets. And what I want to say today, well, you know what? I'll say it again, because I can't know everybody if everybody's listened to the other podcast. Okay, so real quick. Electricity is an acting force. It's positive and it's male. And magnets are a receiving force. They are negative and they are female. When either side, electricity or magnets, start to vibrate, they will oftentimes create a field, whether it is an electricity field, or a magnetic field. And when they do, they tend to pull toward their opposite, so that when they come together, they create electromagnetism. Now, why is this important? It's because when they do, a lot of times, and I want to say a lot of times and not categorically all the time, but a lot of times they do this because they are compatible, or because they are trying to stabilize themselves. And so, with electromagnetism, whether it be with people or with things, when they click and they become better than the two components. We can call that transmigration, where something is elevated because it has been put together with something else, and we can call it stabilization. I remember when I was in college taking organic chemistry and having to learn how to balance scientific equations before I would do an experiment. It didn't click to me until I started to look at the branches of the different components to see which ones were volatile, which ones had an open space. And it was so funny because in my mind, I remember seeing, like, if I needed to connect a hydrogen with an oxygen or with a carbon, and I looked at the drawn representation of that molecule and I looked at the other, it was almost like they were open claws trying to get to each other. And when I would put them together, they would, quote unquote, click and fit like a puzzle piece. And that's the same thing with what I'm talking about today. With what you want wants you. There is a natural reason why you want this, because you might be the electricity in the equation, or you might be the magnet. Most people believe that, oh, I want this and it's just repelling me. That could be the case, but more often than not, if it is a persistent something, say for instance, it's something from when you were a kid, and if you really be honest with yourself, you still could kind of say, "Oh, I want that." Now, y'all, I'm not talking about a little toy that's been discontinued for 25 years. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things that help to strengthen you, stabilize you, and help society, help our environment. Okay? And so thinking of it this way, this will start to make sense. Deficiencies that we have a lot of times can be stabilized and shored up and completed when our opposites attract. So if you were made to be a songbird and you never got your big break, No one ever said, oh, this person can sing. Do you realize that you can do it now? I saw a clip the other night of a homeless woman in the LA because they've, at this particular time of recording, they've been really focusing on the homeless community. And I don't really like to call people homeless. I like to say temporarily displaced because back to what Miss Lena said, she said, wherever you are is your home if you believe in yourself. So that's why I say that. But anyway, she was in some kind of transportation area and she had all her belongings with her. And for whatever reason, I don't know how this happened, but she opens her mouth and she starts singing. And oh my gosh, this woman's voice sent chills through the air. And I was like, wow. At that moment, because it went viral, I was like, this is a moment. And it actually helped to inspire this podcast today of what you want wants you. And when they talked to her, she admitted that she had always wanted to be a singer. She had never been able to train, and she always had to take jobs that were totally out of alignment with what she wanted to do, to the point where she lost her home, and then she played the violin that got stolen. And then all of a sudden she's just singing in freedom because there's nothing else encumbering her, and someone videos it and it goes out, and now people are like, we want you to come sing, we want this. And I was like, this is an amazing story of what true electromagnetism is. Do you realize that not only when you get clear about what it is you want, and when you allow the just the state of our lives of positives and negatives, electric and magnetic, if you just allow them to do their job, that the heavens and the earth will work for you. This is how I feel about it. I feel like when you do what it is that you really want, the universe will even defy its own laws to make sure that what you want hurtles directly to you. And when you do something like that, it shortens the time, it shortens the distance, it helps you do away with the obstacles, and it makes a way out of no way. Check that podcast out, that previous podcast out, for more on that. And it all comes from doing away with the shame, the hurt, the embarrassment, or even the childhood or societal corrections. That's not for you. You can't have that. Whatever it may be. There are so many people that I see this happening for, that I am going to go out on a branch and say that this is what the air, the atmosphere is pregnant with, what it's trying to birth in us. The world is on the precipice of being able individually to get what you want that wants you. Now, with that, let me say this also. So I gave my disclaimer about I'm not necessarily talking about, somebody's will, because, it takes two people to agree. And just because someone liked you last year don't mean they might like you this year. Okay. So this is not about, if I just, whatever hard enough, this person will like me, see me, or whatever. It's not about that. I'm talking about things. I'm talking about callings, vocations, advocations, whatever you want to call it. Okay. But I want to say this as well. And that is that you need to overcome all of those slights that you've suffered, whether they be external or internal. Stop trying to overcome your true self to fit in. Don't deny yourself. Don't feel shame over your true yearnings of your heart. Now, I'm going to say that as long as they're ethical, humane, kind, and just. Don't continue to do that. And for some people, and I'll be the first to say that I've caught myself doing that, it becomes habitual to the point where it's invisible. You don't even realize you're doing it. Okay. So to be able to get clear on what it is you want, because some of you might be like, I don't know what I want. I want you to make yourself available to get clarity. And the way to get clarity is, and I told you to stop going after societal standards of purpose. What I want you to do is I want you to reconnect with those things that you find yourself doing. If you, and I keep going back to the singing because I feel like somebody needs to hear this. If you find that you hum a ditty, you sing all the time, and no one necessarily has to affirm whether you sing well or not, but you find that it gives you joy, peace, it's who you are, then If that is what you truly want, I don't care how old you are, I don't care where you are, it doesn't matter. What I want you to do is I want you to make room for it. And when I say make room for it, that is make a space. If you have to put up a camera and tape some tape over it and just sing your heart out and post it on YouTube, Vimeo, Daily Motion, TikTok, wherever you got to post it, do it and continue to do it. Now, this is the thing. I want to talk to you real quickly about getting what you want and what wants you. You have to realize that you got to be willing to have some grit, fortitude, and tenacity and perseverance because it's not just going to be like, okay, I've made room for it. Come to me now. And boom, it happens. That may happen for some, but that's not normally going to be the case because there is a law of gestation at work. And that law of gestation means that when you plant a seed, it has to have time to germinate and to blossom and grow for you to be able to use it. For instance, if you know that there's something that you want and that wants you, would it be right or seemingly for a 20-year-old to want to be attracted to a 6-year-old? I know that is gross, but I'm trying to make this as graphic as possible to get over to you the law of gestation. So some people say, I've been wanting this all my life and it's never happened. It may be that it is still growing to the point where you can enjoy it and it can enjoy you. And that's why I'm still saying what's, not who's, people. What's, not who's. Okay. So that's the first thing. Stop being overcome by your internal programming or the stories that you tell yourself. And in this regard, I'm going to even say the lies in the stories that you tell yourself. All right. Stop believing what is contrary to being able to get clear on what it is that you want and make room for it. Okay. So then connect once you've made room for it. Before you get it, this is important, you guys, because it's sad to get something and not be able to hold on to it because your old haints, as we call them, or your old haunts come and rip away the tenuous grasp you have on what you want. People don't realize that disbelief, shaky thoughts, and unstableness of deserving or worthiness are some of the biggest factors that tear away all of the good that comes to you. I see it every day. I see it in a lot of people who've obtained success and they're constantly letting you know what's going on in their mind. I don't believe it. I don't know how long this is going to last. Oh my gosh. And it's because of that the universe has to behave in a way that causes them to get what they really want, and that is to get it taken away from them. So the next thing is I want you to connect with how it feels inside to have what you want. I know a lot of you are like, Michelle, you're always talking about feelings and psychological and all this and all of that. And I'm talking about it because that's how we are wired. That's who we are. And it is, I'm going to say, society's expectations to tell us that it's something wrong with you if you are looking at those sides. Society wants us to think that it's your brains and your smarts. Didn't Cornel West tell us? He was like, in this dispensation, we need wisdom. He's like, let your phones be smart and you be wise. And wisdom says you got to deal with the feelings because the feelings are what fuel the thoughts, and the thoughts are what fuel the behaviors, and the behaviors are what produce the actions, and the actions are what get you what you are thinking and feeling about. Okay. So connect with that. And what I mean is I want you to pretend, imagine, visualize, whatever you got to do of what it actually feels like to have what it is you want. Yeah. Because when you do that, it starts to implant and embed that feeling in you, and it gives your world the commandment to go out and make this so. Remember, I've told you, you are sovereignty. You are king, queen, emperor, empress of you. Treat yourself as a country or even as a world or a galaxy if you dare. But you are the sovereign ruler over that galaxy. And because of that, when you give a decree and a commandment, it must be obeyed. It must be so. And then the next thing is this is all under getting clear so that you know what you want. We're first going to stop telling ourselves the stupid stuff, and we're going to clear out all that baggage. Then we're going to make room for it. Then we're going to connect with what we imagine we're going to feel like. And pick the positive stuff. I hope that goes without saying. But then the next thing is you're going to make it in the now. Oh yes, yes, yes. I don't want you doing no far off. Oh, when I get this done, or when I get that, or when I get this age, I want to have. No, now. Do it now. Make it now. Make it as if it has already happened and you're experiencing it now, not sometime in the future. Okay. And when you do that, I want you to be specific that this happens now. Allow yourself to cut the time, cut the obstacles and the delays to acquire what you want now. And so, because of that, and you already know, because I've already told you that there is a law of gestation, understand that you have cut the obstacles, delays, and the time. And so, when it shows up, it's going to be the fastest possible. And that means that you are going to also go through some changes. Have you ever had a situation where your desires or your appetites change? Have you ever had a situation where you have a burst of energy to do certain things that are not your norm? Some people might say, "Oh, it's this or that," or some people might even say it's preparation. And I'm going to say, yes, it's probably preparation and propulsion, because your inner wisdom, higher self, whatever you want to call, that sovereign part of you is getting ready to receive what it is that you want and that wants you. Remember, I said when you get in line, the universe itself will defy its own laws to send what it is that you want and that wants you hurtling toward you when you get clear. And then this is the thing, when you're really honest with yourself, and I'm going to just say it here, to get clear, maybe you consider getting a cheap notebook somewhere and just writing, and getting past the perfunctory writing, getting past the pleasant writing, getting past the I'm scared somebody's going to see this writing, to just let your emotions flow out onto the page. Write with abandon, write with confession, because you know what you can do after that. Of course, do it in a safe environment, but you can burn that stuff to ashes. You sure can. You sure can. Now, don't throw it out in the trash. Maybe you plant it somewhere or whatever. But you can do that, and understand that when you are doing this, that you're able to connect with that part of you that has probably receded to the darkest corners and the smallest crevices of your heart, because it's been beat up so much, and every evidence out there says that it's not right. One of the things that some of you are going to experience, I'm going to tell you this now, is you're going to experience self doubt, confusion, and apathy. Because when you are confused, what we all know by now, a confused mind is immobilized. You get stuck, you get stagnant, and you don't know where to move. And so, for some of you, you're going to have all of these wants. Oh, you're looking at us? Okay. Oh, well, let me shine the brightest. And they're going to start coming at you. I've had people, when I've worked with them on these types of things, say, I thought I just wanted to find one thing, and now I want to do all this stuff and I don't know where to start. And and we have to go back and we have to give some priority. And when you give priority, allow wisdom to do its work as well. Some people think that, oh, I got to figure this all out on my own. If you just make an honest plea for wisdom to show you, it will. It will show you how to get what you want that's wanting you in the best possible way, in the way that you're able to retain and keep what it is that you've been wanting. And you don't have that worry in the back of your mind that some proverbial shoe out there in the universe, the other shoe is going to drop and it's going to be taken away from you. No, you don't have to worry about that. But you also get clear in the priority of what you want coming. For some people, I know some people, what they really want is they just want a family. They want to be a nurturing part of a loving family unit. And that is the thing that they want. And because they're like, I know you said not the who, but the what. I'm like, yeah, the family is the what. Now, you don't go and try to affix what you want on a specific person, but you can work on the what, and that is the family. And that way, when you get too your clarity and your understanding and things start working, that allows for a person to come in, and not necessarily a person that you think that you should shoehorn in. Okay. I have seen some situations, and this is just a quick little aside. I've seen some situations where I've had people come and talk with me in, confidence. But the gist of it is that they got married, and now they don't want to be married because they're like, I was so busy looking at the wedding that I didn't realize I'd have to live with this thing. And they thing, yeah. I'd have to live with this thing for the rest of my life, and I feel trapped, and I want out, and I know I'm probably being wrong, and what did I do wrong, and all of this. And that is when you concentrated on the what, and you didn't care who the who was, and you didn't put parameters on the what. That, yes, I want this family, but I want it with someone who wants me, and I want them, and we are compatible, and all of this other stuff. Okay. So don't just focus on the what, and whosoever with a heartbeat, will suffice, because you might get what you want, and it might have that little tinge of revulsion, or sorrow to it. And that's the thing. What you want wants you. And when you get clear, the gifts come with no sorrow. They come with a clarity and a straight path to be able to enjoy and to be able to grow and become the better. Remember when I talked about electromagnetism? When the deficiencies meet, they stabilize each other out, and they become better than the two separated. That's what can happen. Now, in my last few minutes, I do want to, because I know people are going to want to talk about what I want wants me, and I want to talk about people. So I'm going to do that just real quick, okay? So there's this model called an ENP personality, and that stands for an emotional and physical. And when I've used it in my practice with people, they have said, "Oh my gosh, you must be a psychic, because how did you know that's my dynamic with my relationships?" And it's not a catch-all for everything, but it covers a majority of how we interact with people socially, sexually, familially, and in society. So we call it the social sexual personality type, or the quote unquote opposites attract. And so the emotional. Now that word gives people a little pause, because it actually is that person who seems to be stoic, standoffish, cold-hearted. They are not they're not they don't use a lot of expression. But we call them emotionals because guess what? Of the two, they're the ones who their emotions linger and stay with them the most, because they feel them in their minds and their heads first. And it takes a while for them to float down into their body so that they can understand. Have you ever been with someone or talked to someone and you're like, what are you feeling? I don't know. Give me some time, or maybe you're that person where you're in the heat of something and you feel stumped. And this other person is just blah, 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 blah. And I feel this and I feel that. And you're like, I don't know what I feel. And you have to take some time. And when you take that time, you're like, well, I should have said this and I should have said that, because it takes you some time to process. You could very well be an emotional. And then there's the physical. Now, the physical is the person who feels in their body, and they are always in tune with what they feel. They can always tell you, and they are very easily able to demonstrate what they feel, whether it be in word, in deed, in form, or whatever. And so they are the person that is saying, I feel with my body. And they are always saying, I want to be loved, and I want to be told I'm loved often. Whereas the emotional is, I feel with my brain, I need time to process, and the emotional has a little bit of a cycle. And so you can look this up. There are some um you know what? In the show notes, that's what I'll do, because my time is going down. I'll just drop some YouTube links to the son of the doctor who came up with this profile, and you can go and look at it on your own, and it'll be really enlightening for you. Okay, and so I give you that to even demonstrate how opposites attract, because emotionals are attracted to physicals and vice versa. And they are that electromagnetic collision that when they come together, if they are healthy and they stay healthy and they do what they need to keep that relationship healthy, oh my gosh, it is a powerful and beautiful thing. And so I just want to end this by saying, truly and surely, what you want really does want you. If you have been a victim of a drive-by assassination of society trying to tell you what you want you can't have for whatever reason, let it go. Don't let it linger. If you are not sure what it is you want, there are many ways to get clear. Do it by first dropping that. Evaluate the stories that you tell yourself or that you have ingested and accepted. And then make room for it. Journal about it. Do what you have to. Connect with the feelings of what it'll feel like when you get that. And after that, do it for the now. Yes. Say, I have it now. But be willing to understand that the law of gestation might have to work, that it might take a little time before you actually receive it in the physical. And just know that what you want really does want you, and it comes as a gift with no sorrows. So, guess what? Yep, my time is up. I thank you for yours. This has been MichelleSpiva, your practical priestess of wisdom, with another Wisdom Smack episode for you. Mwah! Join us tomorrow when we get into more. And don't forget to check out the show notes and our Amazon link. Bye. And that's going to do it for today's podcast of Wisdom Smack with MichelleSpiva. If you like this podcast, please help us get the word out. Like, comment, subscribe, and even share. And if you really like it, please help us continue to get the word out by considering using this show's link for Amazon. So when you want to go to Amazon and you do all of your general shopping, please use MichelleSpiva.com/AMZ. It's simple as that. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and this show might receive a little bit of commission that will go towards helping to further get these episodes out to you and to others. So thank you so much for listening. This has been MichelleSpiva with Wisdom Smack. Bye.